This body has been, done, and felt so much that the story it's journeyed through has found its meeting with the soul. Do we hide it? Do we heal it? Is it true? Does it define us? The eyes we hold has witnessed what was felt, transforming the mind and moving it back and forth between what's true, what's false, what's real, and what's not. The inner workings, wonderings, and wanderings that we want to follow, finding that courage deep within to let go of what we've known and transmute what we've been holding. It's time to let go. It's time to heal our bodies. It's time to hear, listen, and feel the voices of our body. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices of the Body, the podcast. My name is Love, Ashley Elaine, and I'm going to be your guide as long as you keep choosing me as we journey through this big, beautiful thing called life, our healing, our stories, our journey, all of the things, all of the things. This episode, I'm so excited to share. First of all, this was my first live and in color, very live and very in color interview. So please give us some grace on the recording as we're learning to navigate just how to shift from, where we were to where we're trying to go. This interview is amazing. I got to meet someone here in Siem Reap who was a former monk, is now a former monk. He just disrobed as a monk a month ago, and I met him within the last month, and we've had some great conversation. And when he agreed to do this interview with me for the podcast, I was like just blessed. I'm so grateful to the yes. So you know the vibes. Prepare your mind, body, and soul as we get into this episode. So I've been prompted to shift a little bit, not pulling away from meditation, but also adding in prayer. So I'm going to read a prayer that I wrote and shared a couple weeks ago at an event, but still allowing space for journaling, still allowing space for stillness to take in, to allow anything that is being downloaded or communicated to you to take place. So find a comfortable seated posture. You may be sitting on the floor, really grounding down through the tailbone, or even laying down, keeping the spine nice and long and flat onto whatever surface you're sitting on, preferably something still and even. And take a nice big inhale and exhale, feeling the shoulders come down away from the ears, feeling any heaviness release in the body. Taking another nice big inhale and exhale. One more nice big inhale. And as you exhale, option here is to bring the gaze down the nose or close the eyes completely if you have not moved into this space. And just allow the words to take part, to penetrate your heart, your mind, your body, your soul. We thank you for your protection and wisdom, for your divine orchestration, for your plans and provision, for the way you heal us and connect us, for your consistency of love, grace, and mercy, for the forgiveness you give so freely and teach us to give to ourselves and others, for the love that is everlasting and ever present, surrounding us like an endless ocean. You are within us, around us, and always in manifested and omnipresent form, reminding us that we are never alone. We thank you for community, a curated space that you align, for healing connection and forward movement. Being present in this space, awakening what we each need individually, we ask for clean hearts, exposure of hidden agendas that are sent to harm us and distract us, clarity of our truth and next steps, and the invitation of the divine connections you know we need to carry with us through and after this space. Let our hearts be open to receive and transformation take place in our minds and souls. These things that we ask of you, amen, ashe. It is so. So allow yourself to just stay here in this space, in this moment, really connecting with your breath, connecting with the words, keeping the eyes closed, drawing whatever needs to come near, to hold you, to touch you, to whisper what it needs to whisper to you, to give you what it is that you are needing in this space: clarity, lack of disruption and distraction, shifting of the mind, thoughts that are haunting you or not letting go. When you're ready, you can take your 3 rounds of breath. And even pause this recording here and allow yourself to stay still a little longer. Invite a little bit more of what needs to be invited. Journal what needs to be released. And we will be right back. Listen. I'm excited to finally say out loud. After 5 years of sitting on this title, after 5 years of just trying to understand what God was doing when he dropped this in me in the middle of a therapy session, Married to Trauma, the book and the workbook is finally out. Yes, Amazon said, girl, we not waiting. We know you've been waiting, but we're not. So you can order on Amazon the print copy of Married to Trauma, the book, which is my story, my journey. It gets a little saucy. I don't use no names. So y'all can go ahead and it's not a telenovela. It's my story, right? It's a book full of free verse poems. I just got creative with it, right? You'll enjoy it. It's powerful. It's impactful. Sometimes I read back at some of it. I'm like, my God, girl. Yes. And then Married to Trauma, the print copy of the workbook. The workbook is for all of you, right? I love a good workbook. If you remember Release and Rise, the behavioral health workbook, thank you all that supported that part of my journey also. The Married to Trauma workbook is so much more in depth. It's a compilation of, you'll see when you get the book, but it breaks down the book, but in a way for you to look at your own marriage, right? What are you married to? What patterns and behaviors have not shifted because you haven't even realized that they're there, right? So go to Amazon.com because I know all of y'all got Amazon. You probably got Amazon Prime too. And this is not a plug for Amazon, but my book is on Amazon. Go to Amazon.com, type in Married to Trauma, and you will see the book pop up and the workbook. It is available now. The Kindle edition will not be available until October 4th, 2023, but it is on pre-order, as well as if you go to barnesandnobles.com, Married to Trauma, the print copy and the workbook print copy is on pre-order and will be shipped out October 4th, 2023. I'm so excited for this. It's my story, y'all. It's my story. It's my story in the funnest way. Are you ready to meet the true you? And welcome back to Voices of the Body. This is a fun episode. So excited. I am sitting here with Mr. Idan. He has such a beautiful story, and we started chatting a little bit. So natural to like sit and talk to you. And I love that you were like, maybe we should start recording. So please introduce yourself to us, Mr. Idan.
So I just finished a period of 10 years as a Buddhist monk in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first thing that I did was to come to Cambodia for 3-4 weeks just to understand how to reorganize myself financially. As a monk, I didn't have a bank account. I never charged for any help that I gave to people. I'm also a psychologist in my profession. And so what brought me to Buddhism and to become a monk was a great deal of suffering. Since a very young age, I was feeling depression and anxieties, and I went to psychologists since a very young age. And just to find myself at the age of 30, after a breakup that I actually wanted to happen, falling into the most severe depression that I ever had, with suicidal thoughts on a daily basis. And now I'm grateful for that time, because unless I would have this slap on my face, this awakening call, I would never take the step to try to heal myself like what I've done now. And these 10 years as a monk were really valuable, and yet when I'm telling it to people usually think, oh, it was probably awesome, and we've been in the most exotic places, and so yes, when you imagine those things, then usually it's like this, but it was very tough, because being a monk in the tradition that I was in, meant that I was practicing meditation every day from morning till night, and I was suffering depression and anxiety. So now I had to suffer it by myself without all the social connection that I had back in Israel, and had no job or even the communication. I didn't have the same language as the monks around me who are Thai. I could only speak with my teacher who spoke English. So there was lots of loneliness accompanying this. Very difficult first 2.5, 3 years, up until I started seeing big, massive changes.
Yeah.
So now my aim and my goal in the last couple of years was to use every opportunity that I can in order to spread this wisdom that helped me so much in my life with other people. And so the corona was, for me, was very good period of time. I found myself on the last flight, I knew it later, on the last flight to my country, to Israel. Then I landed and they closed the borders. And then I spent the next 1.5 years at the same house with my parents. And this is something that I highly recommend everybody to try.
Not for me. At this big age. No.
It really tests your borders and your level of enlightenment.
Oh, I love that. So thank you for like diving in, right? Because, just where we were going with conversation earlier is definitely the depths of where I know we'll go again. I think it's important just to reflect on how you spoke about just the trauma, the pain, the suffering, the depression, the anxiety, all the things that you were experiencing before coming into Buddhism, before becoming a monk, right? Because that's where a lot of people, there's this point where it's like, okay, I'm tired of it, right? I'm sick of it. I want something different. What was that moment like for you, and how did you get to the space of deciding that becoming a monk was next?
I think that it took me several months. It's like when I feel many times that people approach me only when they are already lost most hope in their life, or all hope, and then they approach me. Very rarely somebody comes to me in a very good mood and tells me, hey, I would like to study. People usually come when they are broken. And so I also had that. Even though I was practicing Vipassana meditation and Tibetan Buddhism since I was 18 years old, on a daily basis. I was practicing 2 hours every day, Vipassana meditation, what we call in the West mindfulness. And the tipping point for me was when I was suffering tremendously after this falling into depression. And when I realized that, my life have been a continuation of depression and anxiety with some calm moments, but I need to do something about that and to find a way to heal myself from it. And so definitely that very tormenting period of time of my life, which struck me like if never before, really brought me to my knees. And I remember one night I went to sleep, and I am Jewish in origin, and I was not religious. But one day I went to sleep, I got into my bed and I gave a prayer, please take me away. And if you decide not to take me away, at least show me the way out, and then I promise that I will share it with others, and that will be my life mission. And unfortunately or not unfortunately, I woke up the next day, and I did not have any solution yet. At that time, I didn't even have any idea what is going to happen, which actually makes you wonder how life is so surprising, because I never thought that I will become a monk. But then this idea of finding a solution, and I was treated by, at that time I started being treated by medicine against depression, and I also went to a psychologist and one of my colleagues, and both were able to help me, but I was feeling so insecure from that happening again in the future.
Yeah.
So I started investigating where can I become a monk in Southeast Asia. And I think that what brought this decision was when I realized that yes, life here as the person who I am, who continuously falling into these pitfalls, will bring me more of the same. So if I want to make a change, this is the time, not to wait up until I'll have a family and then I have responsibilities and then it's not so possible, but to do it now. So that thought brought me to the psychologist to talk about not how to get out of depression, but how to leave everything behind and to go to the unknown, which was a place like I knew I'm flying to Thailand, I just didn't know where. And nobody gives you any guarantee that you will heal yourself.
Yeah. That is like a lot of people I talk to, that's the part that keeps them with the depression, the despair, the anxiety, right? Because they're things that are familiar, right? They're things that they're already used to. It's like, well, I don't know what's on the other side. Why would I walk away from what I already know when I don't know what's on the other side of whatever this thing is that, someone is telling me, air quotes, is in between me and whatever is next, right? So I always say that, like, it's a dance, right? It's really like looking at where I am in this present moment, right? And I oh my gosh, I'm so blessed by this conversation already, because literally what you are saying, that was me before I came to Cambodia.
Oh, wow.
Right? I had fell into such a deep despair and then realizing, wow, like I've been, like, this has been going on, right? Even just like the book I have coming out, all of that, it's like I got into a place where I was realizing all of this has just been my life, right? I don't know when it started, but I know I want it to end so that I can live the life that I desire, right? So it takes having some kind of faith, right? To really say, you know what? I don't know what's on the other side, but I don't like what's on this side, right? I don't like what's on this side.
Yes,
yeah.
for sure.
And even like you said, you weren't religious, right? And just one night you just started praying, and the prayer was out of the depths of desperation, right? What does your prayer life look like now?
What do you mean in this?
So prayer life, do you find yourself able to like pray easier now? Do you find that to be something that is more healing for you now, like a practice, just like meditation, right?
Yes.
Have you now seen like the evidence of prayer being something that it's like, okay, what if I prayed a little bit more? How would things also transform? What would shift? All these different things.
Yeah. So first of all, my prayer time is actually Vipassana meditation, and I try to do it a minimum of 2 hours per day, and 2 hours per day formally. But then throughout the day, even now when I'm talking, I am in that state of mind, and I guess what you say in prayer is actually to use thinking and to think positively, I guess. And so if that's the meaning, then I also do this. So I try to say gratitude. So there are two main things that I'm doing every day, as much as I possibly can. One of them is called Metta Bhavana, which means loving kindness. And the second one is called Garuna Mudita, which is being grateful and also being happy for other people's success. So my prayers or my thoughts are in those directions, and I try to be aware of that and think about it. And here in Cambodia, I found myself so many times seeing people being suddenly getting good news about something, and I thought to myself, wow, it's unbelievable. This world is filled with abundance because good things keep on coming. And I'm trying to develop those kind of thoughts.
Yeah.
Other than, I mean, these thoughts are better than, oh, he got it and I'm nothing, for example.
Yeah.
So I always remind myself, oh, this world is abundance, is filled with abundance, and there is enough for everyone, more than enough. So also loving kindness and gratitude for what I have. So I also say these things that I'm fortunate and I'm surrounded by good things. Now, when I'm saying that I'm surrounded by good things, you know, I guess in other religions, people will say that they have angels protecting them, or a spirit of God, or these kind of things. And I guess that it all works on the same area, that we just look around us and try not to take for granted the things that we already have. So when I look around and I go around the streets here, I look at those people, and their faces looks totally different than mine. But when I look at them and I'm thinking to myself, oh, they are my brothers and sisters, then I immediately feel connected and I feel belong. And this, when I do it with people, I find myself very easily connected. And in those times that I don't do it, I can immediately sense, oh, look, I feel disconnected. So I am trying to develop those kind of thoughts and curiosity. So I think this curiosity is connected to what you have mentioned, to go to the other side, because I definitely don't like this side.
Yeah.
So to develop the curious mind is one of the bases on which Vipassana is standing. To be curious, oh, I wonder what is happening now. And yeah, so these are the areas in which I do try to develop my thoughts.
Yeah, getting curious about what's present. Yeah, that's, wow. Yeah. So once you got on that plane to Thailand, how did your parents feel? How did that conversation go?
So at that time I was just planning to go to meditation.
Okay.
That's it. Even myself, I didn't think that I'm going to become a monk.
Yeah.
I just knew that I want to stay in Thailand for around 3 years. And I didn't even imagine myself to be 10 years, and the time really went by so quickly. When I was meeting the psychologist, our conversations were about, and it's funny to say it now, but that was really the conversations. I was 30, 31, and I thought, wow, most of my friends already have girlfriends, serious ones.
Yeah.
And I'm going now to Thailand. I'll come back at the age of 34. Wow, I'll be so old. Who will want me at that age? And I was feeling so afraid. And it's funny, but this fear brought me to the psychologist, because I felt that I needed to deal with these fears and other fears which were very mundane, not spiritual. So when I told my parents that I'm flying, that was a very casual conversation. I'm flying to Thailand to heal myself. They already knew that I was suffering from the torments of depression and anxiety for quite some time. Already, I flew after 8 months. 8 months or 12, maybe 1 year maximum, since the moment I got depressed. And my parents were supportive of me going there. Actually, my parents also were practicing meditation at that time, because I was practicing this meditation for 11 years prior becoming a monk.
Yeah.
So my parents and my brothers went to those courses of meditation as well. But becoming a monk was not a happy occasion for some of my family members. And they thought it's not something which brings honor or respect or something to our family. And that brought tension. And this tension was not talked about, because with those people in my family, I just didn't talk too often at that time. But the funny thing was that when I came back after 2 years as a monk, then my family organized my first lecture, and they invited everybody they knew, and I gave my first lecture in front of all of these people. So since that moment, my family have been my utmost of supporters. So up until now, and so this is that's what happened with my family. Now I'm in very good relations with my parents. Obviously, it's always a challenge to live with one parent for a long time.
Yes.
But at the same time, I can say that if I compare myself to 10 years ago, where it was impossible for me to stay at the same house for long stretches of time, now I can do that, and I'm enjoying that more, and I understand also the value, because one of the things that when we think about it, in one of the prayers that I do, like every weekend I'm doing these group seminars for free in Zoom through our website, idantopaz.com, and people come from all over the world. And the first meditation that we do, just in the beginning, is paying gratitude or developing gratitude, because being grateful is very important.
Very.
And then I start by saying gratitude to the masters and teachers, because I'm very lucky to have a teacher and a master. And then gratitude to our parents who gave us this life. And then what I realized that many people, especially in the West, we are brought up in a way that we think, or we are brought up in a way and we are being educated that our parents must, should, and need to support us. And if they brought us here, now it's their responsibility to take care of us up until the end of our lives. Not their lives, but our lives. And this is totally the opposite in Southeast Asia. Because I remember my first conversation with a Thai person was when, like 1 or 2 days after I landed in Bangkok more than 10 years ago, and we talked about it, and I was amazed. Because she said, I moved to Bangkok to earn money so that I can support my parents and my family. I was like, what? That is amazing. I mean, something is definitely wrong. She is probably repressing something or suppressing something, or something is happening here. But through these 10 years, I saw it again and again. They just developed different way of thinking. And you see it the best in the villages, not in the big, huge cities of Bangkok. So I think this is a very important place where I give gratitude to parents. Then I can see that I really appreciate my parents now. The only people in this planet, and it's funny when you think about it, the only people in this planet who will do everything for me, no matter what, even if I said something that made one of them sad or angry or whatever. I have many friends, I had many friends throughout my life, but I can truly say that my parents were there next to me everywhere since I was born. So when I think about it, then now when I will go back and I will live next to them, then I feel like on the one hand it's an honor that they want me so much to be close to them. I mean, how many people want us to, how many people will do everything in their hand to come, not in order to marry us, not in order to get our money, not to just come here and take our money. I mean, I don't know too many people like this in my life.
That's my grandmother for me. There's moments where like things have just been like, and she's like, just come on, well, I'll make us some coffee, I have food, like, whatever it is I need, if she's got it, she offers it, like, that's, so I love that. Oh, that's awesome. At first when you left, and now you're transitioning into becoming a monk. You shared this information with your family, and they had like their own little ruffle with it. Was it because of like religious reasons or spiritual beliefs? Like, what was it that, because everywhere around the world, at least in the West, maybe it's just a Western thing, we like think monks are cool.
Yes, for sure.
Right? It's not even like a religious thing. It's like, how cool is it that they do this? But then, like, could we do this, right? So was it because of religion, or what was it, like just their own spiritual practices and disciplines, or?
So it was mainly because of the unknown.
No, okay.
What does it mean to become a monk?
Yeah.
What does it require from you? Does it mean that you will never come back again? Does it mean that you will never marry? Does it mean that you are now distancing yourself from people who are not monks? Those kind of thoughts that we have on strangers, and mainly on other groups who are not our groups. So we can see it all around the world, this when we are biased against other groups, we immediately imagine the worst. We usually never think, oh, that group which is so different than ours are the best group and they are willing to help us. I mean, it rarely happens in history.
Yeah.
But I think that's what happened in the beginning. And the reason why it's changed, and I gave the lecture, my first lecture, thanks to my family, was because one of my friends came to visit me, and when he went back to visit to Israel and met my parents, he told them about the transformation, about my way of living. And suddenly they saw, oh, this is so normal. He's practicing, he's eating, he's talking to people. He haven't gone mad or nuts or whatever. He's not like an alien suddenly. Okay, that sounds great. And then there was more and more attraction to the meditation and to the spiritual practices that actually can help us heal. And so this what happened that helped them to change, and actually that understanding also changed me dramatically. I have been helping to people from all over the world. Even now, for those who do not know the politics of the Middle East, then living in the Middle East is a hot area, and not only weather-wise.
It's hot.
Yeah, it is hot.
Yeah.
And loving kindness does happen, but not too much between nations.
Yeah.
And so I found myself helping people from neighboring countries like Syria, like Jordan, like Egypt, and also from the Palestinian autonomy or state. And for me, when they came to tell their story, now obviously they saw, I met all of them except of one, all of the rest came, they met me in Thailand. And the first thing I told them, listen, I want you to know that I'm Jewish and I'm Israeli. If this is fine with you, I'll be more than happy to start assisting you and take you on the same path that I am. And then I saw that when I just open my heart and share my own story, feeling, emotions and thoughts, people feel connected, because it's not about how I look and how I categorize myself. I am this religion or I am that religion, because when I talk about emotions, everybody have emotions and they can relate from that point. And so whenever after my parents and family members became so supportive, then I've never introduced myself to people as first I am this or I am that, but I always say I was suffering from, and then I say what I was suffering, just like I've done here. Because in that moment people, oh yes, he is a human being. And when we see the other person as a human being, and again I go back to where I'm coming from, the Middle East, when we see the other person as a human being, suddenly the biases goes away very quickly. And the more you now I was in Jerusalem. I went to travel with one of my friends from Europe about 5 years ago. And you walk in Jerusalem and you see so many, let's call it in a nice way, interesting people, like from all over the world, from so many different religions, from wearing things that you never even imagined people are wearing. And then I went to the Christian area, I think, or was it the Muslim? To the Christian area, because Jerusalem is divided to 4 quarters. So we went to the Christian part, and suddenly there were 5 Muslim Arabs coming to me and my friend. Now, I was dressed up as a Buddhist monk, and they surrounded us. I didn't feel anything, any threat or anything. And one of them said, "Hey, tell me, why are you wearing these skirts of a woman?" Now, I already realized in my mind that the best way for me to communicate with everyone, I'm just giving this as an example, but this happened to me with so many different people, even Jewish people, even Christian people. People are people, no matter how they can categorize themselves. But they see something which is out of the group, and then they either might feel curious or other things. And so the moment people ask me things, I'm asking myself, what is the quickest way for them to see me as a human being? Behind the shell of robes. And so I thought, I'm going to use my sense of humor. Now I'm coming from the same area, so I imagine that my sense of humor and their sense of humor can be the same, more or less. Now, I immediately said, I look at your pretty eyes and I immediately understand that you either want to buy the same because you like skirts of women, or you want to come underneath my skirt for me to protect you. Isn't that right? And all 5 of them started laughing so hard. And my friend, when he heard it, he became angry. How come they talk to me like this? Now, he was from Europe. And it took me less than 10 seconds to make this situation from a situation that could be unpleasant and to a situation where after less than 25 seconds I started telling them about meditation. And it was so funny. And it happened so many times. So this I've learned from my family, that in the moment that if I want to feel outside of the group, then I need to promote myself as a group or as a representative of something. I am this, that. But if I want to be considered as a part of a group member, even if I'm wearing other things or I'm coming from a different place, then I need to show my humanity, my what makes me a human being, and that's usually my emotions.
I love that so much, because we do tend to like quickly judge people, right? Race, culture, all these different things that really like they play a part in our makeup, right? I believe that when we're created with intention, right? So, the way you look, your stature, your eyes, all these different qualities about you are meant to attract something somewhere, wherever you are placed, because you're unique, you're different, right? And then there's always such big emphasis on religion, right? Like back home in the States, I live in Jersey, New York, PA, like that whole area. There's a very heavy Jewish community in North Jersey and New York. And just to hear some of the things that happen just because they're Jewish, it's not even like, oh, we had a conversation and it went left. You know what I'm saying? Like it's never we were trying to get to know each other and we just disagreed to the point where like they disrespected me, and it's just because they're Jewish, right? It's just because someone is Muslim, it's just because someone is a Christian, right? So it makes us tone deaf to anything else. And I love that it takes great awareness to know that you have the quality to make people laugh, right? Because you do. Like, just the times that we've been in the same space with each other, like the first time we met, I was just like, this guy's got real personality. Like, you know, so to be able to think quickly, right? And that's a gift, right? To be able to think quickly and with wisdom, to be able to say in like 0.2 seconds, this can go left because of what I'm wearing, whatever they're wearing, and then we're like, that's already showing two different perspectives of just religion, right? Which that's a whole nother conversation, right? But you allowed it to become a space of humanity, which is beautiful, because we all have a story, right? It goes beyond religion, right? It's connection to the divine and to each other, right? When we connect, that's connecting divinely, right? When we allow ourselves to stay with an open heart, make each other laugh, right? Be honest and truthful with one another in that space, that's connecting to the divine also. That's powerful. That's so powerful. So how often were you able to go home?
So I tried to go, after the first 2 years I went for the first time.
Okay.
And then I tried to go every year.
Okay.
Yeah. And for me, going back was a huge challenge. I mean, it was more challenge to go back home than to decide to become a monk. Because going back home meant that I'm going back to the same route where I was created with these depressions and anxieties, and I was always afraid that it will pop up again. Now, actually, you know, when you have depression and anxiety, then it can pop up everywhere. It doesn't matter really where. So I remember after my first visit, so my first visit, I asked permission to disrobe, meaning to live the monkhood life, just for that time, of 1 or 2, for 2-3 months. And I didn't get a permission. They told me, if you leave, then you leave and you don't come back. But if you go like this, then you come back later. So remember that I was still struggling with depression and anxiety. It was still in my blood. But then, you know, you go back home as something between a clown and a person who just was able to climb the walls of the mental institution nearby home and run for his life. And that is how I felt. So these are not, it's not, of course it's funny when you think about it, but it's also the reality that I was experiencing. I went back and you saw people looking at you wherever you went. And your imagination told you that they think that you are a weirdo. And this is so unpleasant to feel this. Wherever you go, you feel that you are different, but in the negative way. And it made me feel, now remember, I was after 2 years of training, but it was so difficult. And then at the end of the first visit, something clicked. And I said, and I realized, hey, wait. What are the differences between here and in Thailand? When you walk in Thailand, people also look at you because you are a foreigner monk. But then you are not looking at who is looking at you. You already take it for granted, so you just walk. But here in Israel, you think that everybody are thinking, so you imagine that everybody are thinking that you are weird. And then you start looking around, you start searching, you use your time and make the effort to look around to check who is looking at you. So obviously you find a lot of people looking at you. So it just reconfirms your main idea that you are weird. So maybe you can stop doing that. So the second visit, after a year, I stopped searching for who is looking at me. And then it was a miracle maybe, that suddenly I didn't see so many people looking at me.
Yeah.
And the fourth time, then after a few times, I suddenly realized that, hey, actually this is amazing. Whenever a person looking at me, there is a huge chance, especially in Israel, because in Israel people are less shy than other places.
Yeah.
So in Israel, when people are looking at you and they feel, oh, this is unique or strange or whatever, they approach you. So suddenly I found myself talking with people, strangers, wherever I was going, and making friends, enjoying my time in conversation.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. So suddenly I felt like, wow, this is so good. So from a place where I felt, oh, this is so bad, it went out to be, oh, this is so good. And now I bought these shirts, like the one that I'm wearing now, which is not so common to go in Israel or in the Western world.
Yeah.
But I'll show you some other one that I bought that you will see. Oh, it's downstairs. And I bought this is a traditional Khmer style where you go to weddings or stuff like this, formal, very formal things. And I bought one and I sent it to my friends. I didn't get even one response, hey, this is so beautiful, buy another one.
Yeah.
Most of the responses were, oh, this is great, please leave it over there. And it was so funny. But then I decided, hey, I like it.
Keep it.
So I kept it, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh, maybe I buy some more.
Yeah.
But it's because I feel that I don't really care anymore, because I don't. One of the things that I realized that I don't have is the supernatural power to know what other people think about me. Unless I ask them, if they look at me, it still doesn't mean anything because I don't know what they think.
Yeah.
So, if I don't know what they think, it can be either good or not so good. But there is no meaning in thinking about it because it's just a lottery.
Yeah.
And so it is making things easier in life. Yeah. Because like this, when you talk to people, it's always coming, it's mostly, I don't want to say always because we are human beings and we are changing through the mood that we are having from time to time, but mostly I start conversations from a place where another human being like me. Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. When did you become a psychologist?
I graduated at the age of 28, I think. Yeah.
So before you became a monk?
Yeah, before.
Oh, nice. Yes. Okay. And what made you get into like psychology at that time?
So I was a martial artist since a young age, and then I flew to China. I wanted to become a master in martial arts. And then when I got to China, I started learning the language, and then I realized, hey, I'm actually pursuing martial arts because I came from a place which is violent. And I'm not a violent person. I like to help people. So this is not for me anymore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so actually China taught me that I don't want to be.
Isn't that crazy? You step away from home to do something that you believe you were supposed to do, and to find out it was like a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I came back to Israel and I was clueless about what I want to do.
Yeah.
I went to a psychologist because I was like in a crisis. I was pursuing martial arts since such a young age. I was imagining myself to be a teacher, a master. And suddenly I don't even want to be that thing anymore. So what do I want in life? So I enrolled myself to university for my first degree in political science and Far East studies, meaning China. And I graduated with honor, and then I thought to myself, okay, what to do next? Because all of my friends started working in companies. Back then it was like the China boom for whoever knew Chinese and could make business over there. But for me, I felt like this is not really what makes my heart shine. And And so I went to India and Thailand to practice meditation. I was for 9 months traveling between monasteries and meditation centers.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, when I got back to Israel, I was like, okay, maybe I'll go to walk with my father. He is he has a travel agency. Although that can be nice, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And my father told me, listen, I'm not sure, so take some time, think about it. If you really want it, of course you come.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy that he said it, because one day I was meditating and suddenly an imagination came to my mind that in that imagination I saw myself helping one of my best friends. And suddenly I was like, wow, actually, I love helping people in conversations. After the meditation, I started thinking, oh, listen, you love helping people so much in conversations. There is a profession which is called psychology. You went to many of those kinds, So maybe it's time for you.
Right.
But it was very difficult to make that decision, because I was, on the one hand, you can pursue the path of gold and money,
Yeah.
and go like my other friends to China, that I didn't feel like I want to do, but money-wise it seemed like the best choice.
Of course.
And the other path was to start learning psychology, which is a very long process, so many years. So I registered after all, and I wanted to quit after one semester. I thought, oh wow, that is going to be like forever. And I'm happy I stayed, because that was the best choice ever.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy, and I really see that I have a talent for this. And also, it's not, some people say, oh, psychology really affected you. You talk like a psychologist. But actually, I see it the other way around. My personality actually is a personality that loves helping people. And I chose psychology, I chose meditation in order to fit my personality to something that I can manifest myself in the world. Yeah. So I started to accept the fact that from time to time, I'm not getting paid for it, but from time to time I'm talking with people in the street just for a couple of minutes, and they already start to tell me their life story.
Yeah.
And I accept it, okay, this is how my life are, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, right? Really allowing yourself to merge all the things that you enjoy, that you naturally do, to like become you, right? Like, it's like a puzzle, right? It's like I got all these pieces over here and all these pieces over here, and I'm trying to figure out how they fit, but I can see what the picture is, right? And then now you like, you have psychology, and then meditation was already a practice, and then like discovering, maybe even how it helped you, in so many spaces, right?
Yeah.
Coming through your trauma and that darkness, and like really coming to a place of like, I need to get out, right? And then seeing how psychology has helped you, right? How those therapists were able to help you, how meditation helped you. So now to allow that to really merge into like your work, right? Your soul's purpose, right? I always say we do our soul work for our soul's work, right? We have to do the work for us first to even get to a place where we can talk to other people and be like, listen, I get it. I know, right? Not trust me, right? We're not selling it, right? But we are the walking advertisement for healing, because we had to do the work. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So even now, like, so now so we're in the 10 years of monkhood.
Yeah.
When you start, so now you have like this background of psychology, and now you're getting into the reins of becoming a monk. What did that look like of like helping other people, like while you were a monk?
So it had its challenges, because as a monk you help everyone by donation. So you don't ask for anything in return. And so in Thailand it's very easy, because people come and they help you with clothes, they help you with things that you need, medicines and everything. So they think about you.
Yeah.
For me, helping others was always enjoyable. I really enjoyed that, and I feel I'm blessed that so many people have been coming to me through the years. I think I treated like hundreds of people, and it's wonderful. It's really what makes my heart shine. But then I must confess that when I went back to the West and I gave lectures in Europe and in Israel, I could see that some people who came to me to one-on-one, and even in the lectures, I thought to myself, wow, they come to me and they spend I remember one time that was like, phew, it was really exhausting because the person came from a very difficult place, and he stayed with me for the first time for 3 hours, and the second time for 2, and the third time also for 2 hours. Very long time every session, and we were able to make a huge transformation in him in that time. And even though he had money-wise a lot, the friend who referred him to me came to me one day and told me, listen, I want to donate for him. I know that he didn't give anything. And I think that I found myself many times helping people from the West mainly who didn't give anything in return. And then it helped me a lot because it really helped me to see what is the intention, what is my intention, why am I doing what am I doing, why am I doing what I am doing.
Yeah.
And I realized that I actually enjoy helping people. So for me, that helped me a lot because then I thought to myself, you know what? Seriously, I don't care if people give or don't give. I'm helping because I'm enjoying the process of helping. I was brought here probably because of this.
Yeah.
And so I can just give an example that a few days ago, so now I'm making the transformation from a monkhood life and into a layperson life, and as a layperson I need to pay to people. People want payment,
Right.
especially when I need to eat something and I buy it. Yeah. So it's totally different than when I was a monk. So I need to get to create my own livelihood, and that I need to do through my work. So I have decided that everyone who comes to the group meetings in which I teach meditation, give talks about how to live a better life, giving tools, and then we have a discussion with the community, so creating a community, those things will continuously be on donation base. That means that people can give as much as they want, and if they don't feel they can give now, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Because I feel I want to help people. That's my aim. And then the other things of one-on-one, then on this there will be a price so that I can live.
Right.
And then a few days ago, one of my best friends called me and told me, listen, one of my old friends from South America just got how do you call it? Not divorce, but broke up with her boyfriend.
Divorce, or
And now she is in a very bad shape. Can you help? Because she is totally broke. She doesn't have anything, and she is really important to me. So immediately I said, without even thinking, yes, of course, no problem. And the girl from South America, I saw that she booked a place, and because now the schedule is full like 3 weeks ahead, then after she booked, then she wrote to me a private message if it is possible to make it earlier because she's in such a bad shape. So I sent her a link to my calendar that she can book whenever she wants.
Yeah.
And only in the morning when it's my free time for my own practices. And I met her and we talked for 1 hour. And I saw her eyes when she finished after 1 hour. She told me, wow, you brought hope back to my life. And that means so much to me. And so I think that I really love what I am doing because I would do it. I would do it anyway. I did do it. Donation based. Now I need to take money because life demands this.
Right.
But I feel that that I was born to this, and what makes me joyful is that in like so many times people come with huge problems, and in the moment we make a shift. Usually it happens in the first meeting. They make a shift because wow, look at this, we can get out of this. So suddenly they are filled with hope, and this is it's a pleasure to be a part of it.
Oh, I love that. What are some things that you have taken away from your experience as being a monk that you're now bringing into your own life, like just for you, not your clients, but like for you?
So appreciating my time alone, being able to hear other people who has opinions without judging, and being able to give space to people. And this is what is one of my biggest of hobbies that brings me joy, that I meet people, and what I hear the most is, wow, I went to one photographer here in Cambodia to make a photo shooting for the new website, and he told me, wow, the price is this. I told him, oh, this is a huge price, I'm not sure I can give it. So we talked, and then after 15 to 20 minutes he looked at me and he started crying, telling me, listen, you are the second person in this world that I'm going to tell what I'm going to say to you. And then he told me about his difficulties in life. And he told me, listen, I never felt so close to somebody in such a short amount of time. I feel that you don't judge me, that you totally accept me. And I hear it a lot. And so he told me, okay, I will not charge you to make profit just to pay for my employees. And at the end, he decided to give me all the pictures for free. Even though there were like 5 people involved in this process. So what I love is actually being with people and seeing people as people.
I love that. Would you 3 words to describe your 10-year monkhood?
Okay, maybe suffering to curiosity. Yes.
It sounds like a cocoon.
What does it mean, a cocoon?
Cocoon, so butterflies, right? The caterpillar comes into this state of, it goes into, cocoons are actually, so educating the people, cocoons are actually for, I believe it's moths, right? Butterflies go into a chrysalis. The caterpillar goes into this stage of a chrysalis where everything, it's dark in there. It's like this big little thing that hangs from a tree, and the caterpillar pretty much has to die in there to be reborn as a butterfly. So before it becomes a butterfly, it goes into the chrysalis, and it like does this transformation thing from a caterpillar and then becomes a butterfly. And just hearing you and thinking, like, in my head, I'm a visual person, right? So I have to see the depths of things, but it sounds like your chrysalis, right? It sounds like that space you needed to go into to really transform, right? And that's a scary space for people, right? And it doesn't have to necessarily be becoming a monk or doing yoga, right? It's allowing us to go into the cave of darkness to really transform into the version of us that we were created to be, right? So really, really having awareness of those traumas, really having awareness of the depression, the anxiety, right? And something just kind of like ticking at you and saying, I can't do this anymore. This is not enough for me anymore. There has to be something else. I'm tired of having suicidal ideations. I'm tired of being depressed. I'm tired of being anxious, right? I don't know what's on the other side, but I'm willing to go into the darkness of the unknown and see what comes out. And I'm so glad I'm meeting you on this side also, like, not also, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm grateful to meet you on this side because you're a healer. Welcome to the club. Welcome. Because of your vulnerability and being able to relate to people past religion, past the garb, right? Like, just thinking about the story you just shared about, you know, the Muslim person coming to you and you're wearing your garb, they're wearing their garb. Like, we all have a garb that we wear to signify whatever royalty, righteousness, whatever that is for us, right, in that domain. But the choice to stay human, the choice to honor and be aware of your shortcomings and your traumas and those dark places for you, right, and allow that to be how you connect with people. That's a powerful place. That's a very powerful place. I've been saying to myself, or hearing it play in myself, I have a way of connecting with people when it comes to trauma and grief, right? Even with like lands, right? Just being here in Cambodia, I've noticed a great deal of connection to whatever their trauma is that nobody wants to talk about for some reason, right? And it's hard to accept that, right? Because people will come and just like talk to you, right, and tell you all of these things, and but you allow yourself to really hold that space for them, right? Because you know what it feels like. You know what it feels like to experience grief, experience all of these things. So I'm honored to meet you and share space with you, like in energy, all of that. Because it's hard to recognize that for yourself and then be around people who don't recognize it within themselves or don't tap in that deep, right? So when we have conversation, we're able to go back and forth and have that banter and, you know, still come into what, like, talk for hours and days, right? I love it. So what's next for you? Well, here's the thing. What made you finally decide to come out of monkhood? That's the word now.
I think when I started feeling that I am not enjoying anymore some activities that are not connected to healing other people, to come in touch with other people. And when I felt that, then I thought, okay, maybe it's time for me to try something else. Now, one of my friends told me, you can always go back to become a monk. And that is true. You can always go back to become a monk. I like that life. It gave me a lot. And for now, I'm choosing something different. So that was the reason. When I realized that, okay, something here is not calling my name anymore. I'm not being attracted to this anymore, to some stuff. And also I realized that the healing process lasts, this is the entire life. So can I or can I not use what I have learned here in other in other places outside of the monkhood, and can I help other people better, more? And so, each person who makes decision in his life take his own considerations and values and put them all together and then make a decision. So my decision was that I would like to try to use my time in the service of people,
Mm-hmm.
of humanity, and to share what I have, and to try to live outside of the monkhood. I never had this desire
Mm-hmm.
to be a monk forever,
Right.
and so my aim was different,
Mm-hmm.
was to learn something that can help me to help others later on. Remember what happened when I gave the prayer before I went to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
that I would like to help others if I'll find a way. So I feel that I'm acting according to what I was asking and then receiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm.
this, and all options are open now.
All options are open. You
Yeah.
have a lot of different avenues and spaces and channels and all kinds of like spaces that you can end up in, which is beautiful because you have such a variety of gifting to be able to bring to many different spaces, right? No
Yeah.
matter what the people look like. What's next for you?
So now we are building this new website
Mm-hmm.
through which there will be like these group meetings teaching meditation. As I've said before, this will be donation based, so everybody are welcome, obviously. Whether you can afford or not can afford doesn't matter. Come
Yeah.
to study with joy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a precious thing to start to learn and to use in order to make ourselves happier and less stressful in life. And then also creating this one-on-one therapy, couple therapy, and in the near future also to start giving lectures in companies and in hotels to spread this knowledge. And then courses, creating courses, and these courses will be not only on meditation but also how to be aware of ways of thinking that do not serve us anymore, and how to change them.
Mm-hmm.
And then other courses about right communication or communication skills,
Yeah.
because many times, especially with the people closest to us, we want to transmit them one message and they understand a totally different thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we are not being taught how to communicate in a way that will bring us closer together, even in a fight, even in a disagreement.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be another topic, another course, and then later on retreats. So everything which is related to increasing our potential,
Yeah.
our emotional, our spiritual realms to become brighter and shinier than before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Brighter and shinier than before. Idan, thank you so much for doing
Oh,
this.
thank you very
This
much
was-
for inviting me.
Yeah, such a fun conversation. Such a fun conversation. And we will be right back. Don and I could like sit for hours and talk. It was already an hour-long conversation that we had. But like I said, we had talked for a while that day before we hit record, and even just in the time that between like the day I met him up until like every time we would be in the same space, just really good conversation. I'm grateful for him sharing just the journey coming into becoming a monk, right? And it seems to be like a common thread of the people that I meet or that I've met here in Siem Reap that are either like coming here to stay or passing through, right? They're on this journey, traveling, and decided to just say, you know what? I don't like where I'm at. I don't like what I'm feeling. Something does not feel enough. And even the prayer that he said he prayed, my God, right? That prayer of like, God help me, like desperation, having those thoughts that come in, and it's just like, I can't like do this anymore. Like take me or change me, right? I know a lot of us have prayed that prayer. I've prayed that prayer where it's like, God, I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore, and go to sleep. And by his grace, you wake up the next morning and something shifts, something happens where you now can see something different, or within yourself, right? That there's something out there for you. There's something better than where you are, right? There's something that is calling you away from what you believe to be your truth in that present moment, right? Depression doesn't have to be your truth. Anxiety doesn't have to be your truth. Fear doesn't have to be your truth, right? But there's like, we have to make the choice and the decision to say, I don't want this to be my truth anymore. And Idan did that. He went into the unknown and really allowed himself to engage in those practices, right? Even though the first few years were hard, right? Because new beginnings are hard. New beginnings are hard when you're shifting into something that you haven't seen anybody else do. It can be hard. There's no blueprint, no manual, and you're trying to figure it out on your own, right? And it's really not figure it out, figure you out. What is your you? Who is you? What is your thing? What is your passion? What are you meant to be doing? Man, I'm so blessed by that conversation. So blessed. I hope you all enjoyed it. Idan is amazing, super sweet. There's some future collaborations in the works that we've talked about, which is, exciting for me and my little travel bug. So yeah, I hope this blessed y'all. I hope it has awakened something within you. Of course, not to become a monk, because that's not something that is for everybody. There's a lot of solitude that comes with that. A different version of solitude, let me say. The goal is to awaken to awakening, right? Saying yes to awakening to you and your truth. And that's what he did. He went into the unknown, the unknownness that is called becoming a monk. I kept calling it monkhood, right? But that was his unknown, and that was his bridge for the last 10 years that brought him on the other side of realizing he loved to help people, right? And the one thing that we could all relate on is emotions and feelings, outside of religion, outside of the color of our skin, all of that. Like, we all can say that we've felt depressed. We all can remember a time where we laughed really hard. We all can remember what joy feels like. We all can remember those things that make us happy. We all can remember what sadness feels like, right? So yeah, this was beautiful. I love all of you for free. Until next time.